Hey friends! Welcome to the Drug Prevention Power Hour, where we empower leaders in youth drug prevention. After creating a student-led movement hosting epic drug-free events across the nation, your host, Jake White, dedicated himself to making the prevention field more fun, impactful, and relevant for today's youth. So if you're in education, counseling, public health, prevention, or just a caring adult looking for strategies to protect your kids, we hope you subscribe and learn from every show. Coming to you from Jake White and his team at Vive 18, enjoy this episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour.
Welcome to the Drug Prevention Power Hour. Now, it says this podcast is hosted by Jake White, but in case you missed it, I'm not Jake. I'm Raegann McDonald. Think of me as Jake's younger, cooler, funnier replacement for this episode. Now that we have that squared away, I'd like to introduce you to someone who's been in the youth prevention field for some time now, former member of the Kansas Youth Prevention Action Council, and member of the Kansas Governor's Behavioral and Mental Health Planning Council, and very good friend of mine, Brady Clark. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. So you graduated high school, college.
Yes.
Now, how's that been for you?
It's been definitely a change.
Yeah.
An experience too.
And we're headed into final season. How are you feeling about that?
Okay. Not the best. But...
Yeah, I feel that. So go ahead, tell everyone else a little bit about you, a little bit about how you got into prevention, just some little background knowledge.
Yeah, so I started prevention work when I was a freshman, and it started with joining my school's Y-Link and going to events like that and meeting people, specifically meeting people at the governor's office when we would go and watch her sign legislation or proclamations that benefit mental health. And I think understanding how much it's so valuable for everyone and crucial. So I think that pushed me even more to find more paths, such as KIPAC and the Governor's Behavioral Council. And then I advocate still at the state level, and I'm planning to still advocate at the national level when I can.
So glad to hear it. What are you majoring in again?
Biomedical engineering.
Okay, sweet. So, you said that you first got involved your freshman year. What did that look like for you? Did you just hear about Y-Link, or Y-Link is Youth Leaders in Kansas for anyone who's not aware of that? Was there someone who kind of reached out to you? How did you first get your foot in the door with?
Yeah, so the coordinator hosted an info session every month, and so I went to one of them because my friends were on it. At first I was why is it Youth Leaders in Kansas? What all do they do? And it was mainly focused around mental health, but they also do different things for different communities and different activities or organizations. They did a Big Brothers Big Sisters. So seeing that's familiar. So I might as well give it a chance. And I did, and I ended up really loving it.
So you said you first got involved your freshman year. What were the sorts of things that you did within that club, getting started?
Just being present and showing up to different events or different things we held. And I would say it just started with me showing up and me putting in the work and showing that I can be a voice for those who don't have a voice.
Yeah. So okay. So you're talking about showing up and just putting in that work. Once you had done that, how did you see yourself advancing within Y-Link? How did your role kind of shift as you had been in the group for long?
I would say just my passion and just truly seeing that mental health, substance abuse is not something that a lot of people are educated about. Mm-hmm. And so I think that pushed me even more to we need to educate people about this because it's either lacking at home or not being sufficiently taught in the school.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there do you have something that kind of drives you to work on this? You don't have to share if you don't want to, but if there's a story behind that, we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, so my best friend, her brother died of suicide, and I watched her struggle through it when we were growing up. And I have struggled with depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. And I think what even drove me further to continue to pursue it was seeing that I struggled and I didn't want to give up because it would affect my friend in a more severe way, and seeing her go through it again would not make me happy. And so I think just seeing it firsthand, I think that also like alters your mindset on it too.
Yeah. I think it's different when like you actually experience it and it becomes a lot more real than just like hearing about it on the news.
Yeah.
I think that's 100% true. So I think it's really great how you've used like those experiences and your own experiences to make a difference in other people's lives and really change something. That's really amazing. So kind of switching topics here. With Y-Link, a lot of the things that like I was also in Y-Link, and a lot of the things that we did at my high school were probably different than what you did. So what were the types of like activities or events that your group hosted?
So we did a blood drive, and it was just kind of like a jump start to get people knowing about what like who we are and that we exist. And then once from there, we kind of picked it up. Like we went to the Capitol and advocated for special education funding or more mental health resource funding. And then we reached out to a retirement home in Topeka, and we did like a seniors and seniors kind of like a writing letter type thing. Okay. So like high school seniors would like write letters to senior citizens and support them, because like we didn't even know that we were missing a whole demographic in special education funding. And a lot of the times it's like they don't have family that come and visit them, so it gets lonely and they start having depression or anxiety. Right. And so showing them that like we have people who are more than willing to connect with you was one of my favorite events. And then I think we did a Boys and Girls Club, like supporting kids when they're going through like mental health challenges. Those were some of the bigger events we did.
Okay. I want to dive a little deeper into a couple of these because they just kind of pique my interest. I've never heard of this with Y-Link before. So you talked about advocating at the Capitol for special education funding. Is that right? Okay. Yes. How do you go about that? Because I feel like a lot of the times, like it's like, oh, I want to make a difference. Like, let me go talk at the state level, but no one really knows how to do that. You know, that's a lot of work and a lot of organization. So like, how do you actually go about getting your foot in that door?
Yeah, so I was really lucky because I was our student body president. Okay. So I had like a foot in the door with Stugo, and that's who we also co partnered with. And then I know a contact at the Capitol. He is a House of Representative, and so I simply just talked to my Stugo sponsor and was like, hey, they're lacking funding, what it should be. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, so kind of set up an appointment to visit. And then we kind of tackled everybody else from there. Like we would drop by everyone's office and be like, hey, we have a moment of your time. We want to talk to you about something truly valuable and important to us. And I think the key about like whenever you go and do like legislative work is to show how compassionate you are about what you're talking about, because they don't just want you to hand them a letter and be like, okay, you can read that and we're going to dip. They want you to they want to see that you actually care about what you came here to talk about. So I think also having that kind of mindset helped us in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. So, okay. You talk about like you set up an appointment to visit, and then you kind of drop by offices after that. So, are you saying that like you have this contact who's a member of the House, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, and then after that, you just kind of like talk to the rest of them when you can and try to get them to hear your message. Is that how you go about that?
Yeah. So the reason why I reached out to this representative was because they're in he covers our district. Right. And so I was like, well, we're his constituents, so like he would want to hear from us. And just dropping by, because they had a floor session right after that. And so we really couldn't speak to any of the legislators, but we were able to speak to their legislative staff, like their secretaries, and just saying, hey, please let them know. And then like we also included like a contact on the flyer, so like if they wanted to follow up or questions, they would just email that.
Okay. So do you personally think that like talking to these legislatures or talking to their staff is more influential than like writing a letter or sending an email? Do you think it should be in person? How does that make an impact?
Yes, 100% it should be in person. because it's harder to tell someone no or turn them away in person than it is in an email or a letter. So, and I think that goes back to like caring. Like if you're willing to show up in person and tell me that I'm wrong because I'm not supporting something that I should be, then if I was in this shoe, I'd be like, you showed up and you told me I was wrong.
Yeah.
And you didn't just like email us in the letter.
Okay. So when you show up to talk to, especially the representative that you were like scheduled and you had a meeting, what sorts of things do you say in that meeting? Like, how do you get your point across? How do you balance like having that passion while also being really like serious and in the moment?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to show compassion without like crossing a line of like respect, because like they are a person, and I think knowing that they just wanted to listen to you, otherwise like they wouldn't have taken this meeting, is like more than enough to stay and fight for the cause you're wanting. But yeah, that it's something really challenging that I haven't really figured out how to deal with in those types of situations. But
I mean, it's worked out for you pretty well. Just when you go in, like, do you have like set in stone exactly what you're gonna say, or like do you kind of rehearse it, or is it just off the wall?
Yeah, I have like bullet points that I would cover over, because I don't want to just rehearse something and then give it to them, and then like they're asking questions and I have no idea what to say. So I always just do bullet points so that I know what I'm going to cover, and it leaves them room to ask questions.
Yeah.
So.
You want it to be organic.
Yeah.
I don't. Okay, just let it flow. So, are you like going into these meetings by yourself? Do you have a group with you?
So, there's a group of us. So, like, I assigned a group to the House side, and they would tackle the House, and then I assigned a group to the Senate side, and so they would go to each of those meetings. So there was a group of us. It wasn't like just me solely alone. Excuse me, but like only a few of us were talking.
Just casually, you're talking about like, oh, I assigned them to the Senate, I assigned them to the House. Like, you're not, like, it's so nonchalant. You're not even like recognizing the fact that you're just like delegating. Oh, you go talk to the state senator, you go talk to this representative. Like, it's nothing. It is like, it's really cool. Okay. I have so many questions. Okay. How do you decide on these people? Like, you talk about you're going from Stuco, like that's kind of how you got your foot in the door. Are these all people from Stuco, or how does it tie into Weiling? Like, talk to me about that.
So, like as I said, this specific event, we did a Weiling and Stuco partnership.
Okay.
So, like, at one of our Stuco meetings, we had Weiling join us, and we planned there, and I was like, okay, here's the list of, like, who's all going to the Senate side, tackling those offices, and House side. And so, yeah, it was both Stuco and Weiling.
Okay. And is everyone just like, oh, yeah, like, we're going to do this? Like, it's so normal? Or does it take a little convincing? Like, because I know, like, you're used to it. Like, you advocate on the state level, but there's got to be people who are like, you want me to talk to a representative? Like,
yeah, it was a struggle for sure. But I told them that, like, you don't need to speak. We just need bodies in the room to show that, like, more people stand with your side than just you. Because if you show up alone, then it's like, oh, one person thinks this, but we're showing up in a big group, so we all. Anyways, so someone in Stuco who was very passionate about like legislative work, as I, and so I was like, well, you go onto the Senate side, and I will cover the House side. And then we had two other people who were like, oh yeah, I'm fine with speaking, and so like we just split them up. But it was a struggle at first. It's like, me? They were like, me? Like, you and me? Like, are we having the same conversation? No. But yeah. Okay.
Just like, hey, the fact that you're talking to representatives, whatever, that's very impressive. That's amazing, like, very cool. But how do you talk about, like, knowing that they wouldn't take the meeting if they didn't want to hear what you have to say? How do you kind of, like, keep yourself calm and, like, how do you stay calm in that situation? Like, prepare yourself for this meeting and have that confidence going into it.
Just passion and just truly knowing the cause you're fighting for. Like, I truly like have educated myself on mental health and substance abuse. I have even like went through all that. I even went through all of that on my own. And so I think just truly making sure you know top to bottom, side to side, about the cause you're fighting for.
Right.
And if they didn't really care about what I had to say, or they weren't going to change their mind at the meeting, well, get them at the next one. They don't need everyone to pass something. So, yeah.
Okay. I love that. So when you go into this meeting, like, was it well received? How did like this advocacy actually like turn out for you?
It was really well received. My friend and I, we took a side quest to one of the other offices because we saw her floor speech, and so we were like, let's go talk to her because she is like extremely mad about the funding situation too. And so we gave her assistant her contact info, and shortly after she had another speech for the session, and she asked to call into question for the funding. So later then she like reached out afterwards and just to say, well, I'm so glad, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, so we ended up passing, I think it was 200 million. I think that it was 200 million into the special education funding, but don't quote me on that.
Okay.
And so I think we success our mission.
And you helped make that happen.
Yes.
You're still just being so like calm about it. Like, okay, I'm not gonna quote you on the 200 million, but either way, that's a lot of money that like you helped get past in those lives that you helped impact. That's amazing, Brady. Okay. I just can't believe I didn't know about any of this. Like, okay, wow. I don't even know where to take this from here. I'm just like, it's just like bouncing off the walls. I could talk about this forever. Okay, so kind of still talking about like this project, kind of going into like overall, what sort of barriers have you run into with advocacy and prevention work in general? And like, how have you been overcoming them, or are you still working on overcoming?
Legislative standpoint, being turned away is not fun, especially like, again, if you've like poured your heart out and dedication towards something and it like gets ripped away from you, of course you're gonna be mad.
Yeah.
You don't take a toy from a baby. And on the other side of it, not the legislative, just truly like finding what aspect of mental health or substance abuse to focus on, because there's so many. And it feels like if you don't focus on one, then you're kind of like neglecting it.
Right.
And that's a frustration, like I feel like, because you can't satisfy the whole population and demographic. And so that makes me mad too. But a barrier, I would say, is like not getting the voices heard. So like you can hear me talk about how mental health and substance abuse are crucially important in education, but I'm only going to do so much because I'm not at the forefront of like the problem.
Right.
So like making sure that those who are struggling have a voice and things like that, or like people of an education hierarchy, like they're a teacher or like a principal, seeing and having them have a sort of stance on it.
Right.
But it's hard to get those people to want to speak. And so that's a barrier because it's like, well, it's basically writing an essay in third person. It literally only does so much.
Okay. Yeah. I totally understand that. Like being turned away after like you've really poured yourself into something it's just devastating. But I think that the fact that like you guys have continued to pushing for it because of that passion that you have is really what like it's what makes the difference. And you can't fix everything for everyone, but you can make a difference in one person's life. And, you know, that bill that got passed for special education funding, that made a difference in a lot of lives. And so, I mean, you're definitely doing something. Definitely doing something. Okay, just a couple more because we are running out of time, but I do want to know, how has being involved in Y-Link and substance prevention, all of the advocacy work that you've done, how has that been good for you personally? Like, what do you think you've gained from it? If you could tell someone who's like wondering if they should get involved, wondering if they should go down this path, anything, what would that be to kind of inspire them to go?
I truly, if you asked me when I was an 8th grader or at the beginning of my freshman year, if I would be sitting here with Raegann McDonald on a podcast talking about substance abuse and mental health, I would have laughed you out of the room. And so I think being involved in Y-Link, KIPAC, the Governor's Council, I think it truly is, it's sort of like my home, because nothing more than I love is, well, nothing more.
Nothing more than I love.
Nothing more that I love is helping people and showing compassion towards people who don't have that. So like mental health, a lot of people who are struggling can't just like go out and advocate for themselves. So I think it's truly helped me see that in another light.
Yeah.
The stigma around it, seeing it like slowly dissolve has made me want to still do this. And I truly love helping people and making tomorrow more impactful and better for the next person.
I don't even know where to go from that. Like, hear you say that like Kaipak and Wyling and all of that has just kind of become your home. Like, that's one of the things that like I feel the most. Like, I can completely understand that, like, especially from like the making a difference, but also just like the people. Like, I'll be honest, if you would have told me in January that I'd be doing a podcast with Brady Clark, I probably wouldn't have guessed that one either. I'm so glad. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. To close this out, it's time for today's bright spot, that one person who's made a real impact and kept us moving forward. And I think it's a perfect way to end, because we all have that one person who's really made an impact on you, whether in the prevention field or in your life in general. And I just think that it's important to thank those people and give them a little shout out. So, Brady, if you could pick one person who's made that impact or kind of influenced you in a positive light, who would it be and why did you choose them?
Can I pick two?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it.
Well, first one, Eric Cortez.
Okay.
He was my high school's Wyling coordinator, and he's the one that helped get me onto the governor's council.
Right.
And so, like, without him, I truly do not see myself sitting here at K-State on a podcast.
We're very thankful for him.
Very thankful. And then my second one is Angela Crawford.
Okay.
She was my Stuco sponsor and my U.S. history teacher.
Okay.
She made it so easy. And I truly, and without her, I would have never, let alone gone and tried to be student body president and done it. And pursued legislative work and pursued like legislative internships around like mental health and health and all of that without her. And so I truly also can't see myself sitting here because it's changed me personally and how I communicate. And so I think those two are like the rock of my leadership. That's
amazing. I'm grateful for them. I'm glad that you're here. Okay. One last thing, actually, I guess I was kidding. If you could give one piece of advice or like one kind of quote or anything like that that kind of guides your life or the work that you do in general, whatever it may be, what would that be?
One word? You said?
One word, one quote, one little mantra, whatever you want it to be. What guides Brady's life?
I don't remember who said it. I can truly look it up. But it's like there's no tomorrow. It's basically like there's no tomorrow if you just sit there and let yesterday pass you by.
Okay.
It's something like that. I can look.
I really like that. I really like that, actually. I love that. Okay. Well, Brady, thank you so much for spending your time with us this morning on the podcast, and thank you for all the phenomenal work and advocacy you are doing in your community and in your state, even on the national level. I know I haven't been around for all of it, but it has been great to see even over the past year, like everything that you've been able to do, and it's just been amazing. And I've told you before, but you really are just such an inspiration to me and all these other youth, and I'm just so proud of everything that you do. So as we wrap up, would you like to share a social media handle for either you or your club that our listeners can check out if they'd like to stay connected?
Join the Kansas Kaipak Instagram.
Yes.
Follow it.
I will put that in the description. You should definitely follow that one. But yes, finally to our audience members, thank you so much for giving Jake's replacement a chance and for the life-saving work you're doing in your own communities. It does not go unnoticed. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend or someone who you think would benefit. This has been the Drug Prevention Power Hour with your host, Raegann McDonald, doing Jake's job only better. We'll see you next time. You killed that!
Thanks.
I think that was great. I think that was really great. Good job.
You killed it. That was really fun, your intro. I wanted to laugh.
You're allowed to laugh. You're just not allowed to make fun of me after we're done.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I hope finals go well for you. I hope you have a good Thanksgiving. Thanks for doing this for me.
Finals go well. Yeah, of course. And I hope finals go well for you too.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Oh, I thought I found the quote. I'll find it and I'll send it to you.
Okay, sounds good. I'd appreciate it. All right. Have a good one, Brady. Thank you so much.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, of course.
Hey friends! Welcome to the Drug Prevention Power Hour, where we empower leaders in youth drug prevention. After creating a student-led movement hosting epic drug-free events across the nation, your host, Jake White, dedicated himself to making the prevention field more fun, impactful, and relevant for today's youth. So if you're in education, counseling, public health, prevention, or just a caring adult looking for strategies to protect your kids, we hope you subscribe and learn from every show. Coming to you from Jake White and his team at Vive 18, enjoy this episode of the Drug Prevention Power Hour.